Good afternoon, students. Welcome to class today. Today we'll be continuing our lesson from Unit 9, and I want you to open to page 100 and 101. We'll be looking at expression and equations. On today's points, we'll be looking at expanding brackets, and then we'll look at how we can do constructing and solving equations. But first, we'll look at how we can expand brackets whenever we have an expression that comes with a bracket. Okay, so we have three examples here that we're going to go through today. The first one is this, and second and third one. This is 5, and then in brackets we have 2w plus 3. So the relationship between the 5 and what is inside the bracket is that 5 is going inside the brackets to multiply with all the values that we have inside the bracket. In the second one, it looks similar to that of the first one. So the first one carries a positive sign inside the bracket, whilst the second one carries a negative sign or a minus sign inside the bracket. In the third example, you will see that there is a bracket, and then at the back of the bracket we have our plus sign, then we have x here. That means this 12 is only going inside this bracket but will not have any relationship with that of the x. So we only multiply 12 with the variables that we have inside the bracket. So these are the examples that we will handle today, looking at how we can do expanding brackets. So let's look at our first example. So we will multiply, the relationship between 5 and what is inside is multiplication. So we will multiply 5 with all the values that we have inside. So 5 times 2 will give us 10w plus 5 plus 3 will give us 15. So that means 5 goes inside, multiply this one and this one. But it doesn't change the sign here. The sign still remains as it is. On the second one, we have 7, which is going inside our bracket, okay? So 7 is going to multiply the values that we have in our bracket. So that will be equal to, so 7 will multiply c, that will be 7c, and then 7 will multiply 4, and then we will have 28 over there. Okay, so let's see how we will do this one. Okay, so we put, because of space, we put our equal sign here. 12 by 2 will give us 24 minus, so 12 by give us 36y. So the brackets has opened now, so we have to put our plus here, and then we put our x here. So this is how we handle expanding of brackets. The number outside the brackets goes inside the brackets to multiply with the values that is inside. In the case where the brackets, at the back of the brackets, we have another sign, either minus, plus. What is here does not have any effect on this particular variable there. On the second aspect, we look at how we can solve equations in this direction. So we have 3x, which is equal to 12. That means there is a value here that when you multiply with 3, it will give you 12. But we don't know that value. So we have to work it out and find out what possible value could be there to multiply by 3. So let's see. So we move to the next one. So our equation is going to change to be 3x divided by 3 equal 12 divided by 3, okay? So we want to make our x the subject. That means we want to make x to stand alone. So if you want to make x to stand alone, that means we have to divide here by 3, and then we also divide the other side of the equation by 3. Whatever you do on the left hand side of the equal sign, you have to do the same thing at the other side of the equal sign, okay? So this 3 will cancel this 3, so x will stand alone, whilst this cancel this 1 by 4. So our new equation is going to be x is equal to 4. Okay, so that means our x is equal to 4. So to prove our equation, when you multiply 4 by 3, it is equal to 12. That means our answer here is correct. That is how you can do to check your answer. You put your 4, which is x is equal to 4. So you put 4 here, you multiply by 3, it will give you this answer, that is 12. Okay, let's look at our second one. So with the second one, we have x plus 3, which is equal to 15. That means there is a value here that x is representing. When you add to 3, it's going to give you 15. To find this value, 3 has to cross the equal sign to the other side to go and join 15. 3 is a positive value here. So when it crosses the equal sign, it becomes negative. So our equation is going to be 3 is actually coming this way. As it is coming, it changes to become negative. Okay, so our equation is going to be x is equal to 15 minus 3, because 3 goes this way. So now we can subtract and say x is equal to 12. So our x will be equal to 12. That means when you put 12 here and you add 3 to it, it's going to give you 15. So that is the check strategy, how to check to find out that your 12 that you've gotten is the right answer. 12 plus 3 will give you 15. On our third one, we have x over 5. That means 5 is dividing a number here that will be equal to 30. Okay, so what value is here that 5 divides that will give you 30? We have to work out and see what value that we're going to get. Okay, so our equation is going to change because 5 is actually dividing here. So if you want to change the equation, that means 5 has to cross the equal sign. Because 5 is in division column here, when it changes the equal sign, it crosses the equal sign, it's going to change to be a multiplication. Okay, so our next equation is going to be x, which is the same as 30. Okay, so because we want to go away with our 5, we need to multiply this side of the equation by 5 and then this side of the equation also by 5. So this 5 will cancel this 5. So x will stand alone. So that means we're going to have x, which is equal to, so 5 times 30 will give us 150. So if you see, x is equal to 150. If you put 150 here and you divide by 5, it's going to give you 30. So students, this is all about our expressions and equation for today, expanding our brackets and that of constructing and solving equations. I'll post your task 1 for you to solve in the Telegram group. I'll see you in our second video. Hello students, welcome to our second section on our lesson, expression and equations. Today we looked at expanding of brackets and constructing and solving equations. So on this section too, we're going to do some examples that will still help you to understand how you can open brackets whenever you have a bracket situation, and then how you can also construct and solve equations. Okay, so let's do that of our expanding of bracket first. So we have 2, then into bracket we have 13 minus 4y. So this will be solved as 2 goes into the bracket and then we're going to expand the bracket. So 2 will be 26 minus 8y. Okay? So this is the solution for the first one. Second one, we go 5z plus 25, okay? So we have 5z 25, it's multiplication. 6 goes inside the bracket, which is equal 12 plus 18b. Okay, so this is how we expand our brackets on this side. Okay, so please take note of this one and then don't confuse yourself. Okay, so in solving equations, we have x over 2 might equal to 4. So we have to solve this equation. Look for the x here, which means we are making x the subject, okay? We want x to stand alone. So our equation is going to be x by 2 equal 4 by 2, okay? So this 2 will cancel this 2, and x is going to stand alone, which is equal to 8. So we'll have 8 here. That means when you put 8 here and you divide by 2, your answer is going to be 4. With this, because 5 is multiplying here, so the relationship between the first and the second one is that when the number is dividing the letter or the alphabet, you have to multiply, and when it is multiplying the alphabet or the letter, you need to divide. So this is going to be 5x divided by 5 equal to 30 divided by 5. So whatever you do on the left hand side of the equation, you do the same thing at the right hand side as well. So this will cancel this, and this will cancel this to give us 6. So our x is equal to 6, okay? So we have 6. So when you put 6 here and you multiply by 5, you're going to get 30. Okay, so let's see this one too. So we want to make x the subject. That means 7 has to cross the equal sign to the other side of the equal sign. Once 7 is positive here, when it crosses, it becomes negative. Okay, so our equation is going to be x 19 minus 7. We want to find x as a single digit, so that will be equal to 12. Okay, so that means when you put 12 here and you add 7 to it, it's going to give you 19. Okay, so this is about solving equations, and this side is about expanding your bracket. Okay, so please take very good note at it, and then try to do your exercises that I'm going to post to you. That will be your task 2, okay? So when you finish task 2, then we'll go to our third movie. That will be our homework to finish this session. So I'll see you in our last video. Welcome to our last session on our topic, expressions and equations. So I hope that today you have enjoyed class so much and you have learned some new things that will help you to solve your math equations anytime that you meet them. So this is a very important topic that will help you to do most equations or most expressions you find answers to. With the expanding of brackets, normally you meet situations like this. So once you know how to solve it, it becomes very easy for you to do it. Please always know that when there's a number here that is close to the bracket, without you seeing any sign here, the relationship between the number and that of what is in the bracket is a multiplication, okay? So what is outside actually multiplies everything inside, okay? But the sign does not change. You should always make sure that your sign will not change. If it is a negative sign, you maintain the negative sign. If it is a positive sign, you maintain your positive sign. It can also be a multiplication sign or a division sign inside. You still have to maintain that particular sign that you see there. In a situation whereby you find an extra variables outside the bracket, it means what is in here, out here, does not affect what is at the back there, as we did in our first episode examples. Okay, in the case of finding solutions to your equations, when you want to make the variable the subject and the number is dividing the variable, it means that you have to multiply. So the inverse or the reverse form of multiplication is division, as well as the inverse or the reverse form of a division is a multiplication, and vice versa. So if you look at our first example and our second example, in here 2 is dividing x. So to make x stand alone, we have to multiply this side by 2 and multiply this side also by 2. Whereas here 5 is multiplying x. So to make x stand alone, we need to divide. So whilst we multiply here, we divide here to make x the subject. So these are the key things that you have to note in between the example 1 and that of example 2, so that you always know how to make your variables or your letters the subject of your equations to find the right answers to them. Thank you for joining class today, and I hope that I would see you same time next week. But I'm going to post your homework for you to do, so that at the end of the day you'll still have some exercises to do to help you understand expressions and that of equations better. So see you next week. Goodbye.